LOTIs, our enemies that hide behind our flag. They're revealing themselves more and more. See, operations like Operation Chaos, COINTELPRO were illegal operations. These were operations which defied our constitutional rights. Even a Supreme Court judge stated that the FBI's list was unconstitutional. Recently, 2 targets placed on the terrorist watch list discovered their child was on the list. Since they were targeted, the child, a baby, was placed on the list. So our enemies, they lie. They're liars. They're not anti-government, I'm pro-government, and just against corruption. So when you're in this, the enemies try to do what they did to like Trump to targets. Same thing, they try to destroy your life, cause you to be constantly stressed out. They use the legal system, they use people in positions of trust, agencies that we've always trusted. But now they're exposing themselves. Just like what happened with DHS whistleblower Julia Davis. She was listed as a domestic terrorist for exposing people from nations which are on our terrorist watch list, terrorist nations, like there are people coming here. So since she exposed it and blew the whistle and went to the appropriate channels to the FBI, she was gang stalked. So our enemies gang stalk people, they slander people, they destroy people's lives. And once you're in this, if you're targeted by people on a federal level, you'll be harassed on airplanes. I'm always harassed in schools, churches, civic groups, where you walk, where you live at. This program is entwined into law enforcement. It's not that law enforcement is bad, but their agencies are getting money from DHS and FEMA for going along. So people are being bribed. Not every movement like COINTELPRO, like just because police supported it, along with Freemasons, doesn't mean that it was ethical or constitutional. There's a lot of things that occur at times. As far as these targeting programs and the research and making money, not always legal. People just go along with it because the justice system goes along with it and says, hey, we're not going to do nothing. So we have this all hands-on-deck approach now in many cities with their city mayors, city commissioners, which are in charge of community policing, police, county attorneys, turning a blind eye because they're the ones that are supposed to be prosecuting, the county attorney, state attorneys, and they're not doing nothing. So targets are having to investigate and become their own investigator. And when you try to investigate, our enemies will label you something that you are not. They try to label you as being a threat or a dangerous person when you're simply trying to investigate. See, I have a bad back. When I go out and investigate, I bring a camera, and the U.S. laws state that you're actually allowed to record anywhere in the U.S. as long as it's on public property. So if you're being harassed by someone, how are you going to get proof unless you get a private investigator or you go out and try to figure out where these cars are coming from? My only thing is how can I sue? Not so much for money, but at the same time, yeah. But at the same time, it's to teach the people a lesson. Hey, you're violating my rights. This is what happens to you when you violate my rights. I take you to court, I get some money. But your enemies, they don't want to take any accountability. So for that reason, since they use non-disclosure agreements, artificial intelligence can never confirm the existence of these programs when our agencies are all on the same page. Time and time again, they've been proven to be liars. Career criminals. This is what career criminals do. They systematically commit crimes. So when you're a target and you're being systematically harassed with your family while eating and stuff, you're dealing with career criminals. I don't give a damn if they have a top secret clearance, work for the NSA, FBI, whatever, or a radical feminist group or an LGBT group under the guises of diversity and inclusion. If someone is violating your rights, then they're trying to promote a problem. If you see the lights flickering here, it's because there's a storm here in Florida. So our enemies, they hide behind the flag, and they try to entrap and induce the target to react. So when the target moves, they do the same crap over and over and over again. There's a book called Social Hacking, and it talks about that some of these groups, agencies have databases and triggers on what pisses the person off and what they've been doing to try to piss the person off. So they're trying to piss people off. They're trying to create a scene, and they're utilizing people in the same manner as jihadis. They go out and they do evil stuff and commit suicide. And that's what these people are doing. Some of these CIA agents and contractors, they're doing this for money. And they've been told, hey, this person's been targeted for so long, the chances of this person doing something is very slim. They've been targeted for 27 years. So what they do is they look for some targets, and then they bash them, and they try to condition them to get used to this. I'm never going to get conditioned to this, or ever believe that this is okay for families and kids to experience. So if you have the money, get up out of here. I'm going to share a few clips which will show you some stuff about this program. And I'm not blaming this on one agency or one department or one contractor. There are thousands. There are many which will do this. Small business owners. It's amazing how big this thing is. Anyways, God bless. Peace.
I was reading this morning, so I just want you guys just to check this out. You can find this by going to Google and just typing up National Security Division, U.S. Department of Justice. And this is concerning the FISA. See, there are a lot of targets after 9/11 which have been listed. I think America now has over 1 million terrorism threats. We have more terrorism threats in the United States than any other nation on earth. So what they're doing now is that they're trying to merge, well, not trying to, they've already done it. They've merged law enforcement with the military-industrial complex to have these partnerships. So that way, when you go and ask for help, you're going to be denied any type of assistance. So they'll have their right to life, liberty, and justice, but you will be denied those rights because your Justice Department is allowing the FBI and military-industrial complex to operate behind the scenes and target people. So there are people that are subjected to surveillance, harassment, mobbing. So a lot of this interagency coordination is occurring due to enhanced coordination. Let me see if it'll let me highlight a certain area here. Between the intelligence community and law enforcement. So if you keep moving to different states and you keep finding yourself being harassed, well, it's typically because someone within our government, a government agency, is allowing this to occur, where you're being mobbed and systematically harassed because someone has placed a label on you and now you can't even contest it. You don't have no right to contest it, to refute any allegations or share proof that the people that are doing this are the government. And then when you have proof, they don't want to listen, and they will write a false report on you, trying to label you mentally ill, a liar, a conspiracy theorist, when you're telling the truth. So they have created a hidden program which operates behind the scenes, which allows the CIA and other agencies to do their own thing. And so what they do is they outsource, and they have people that will subcontract, and they may talk to neighbors, housing associations, local civic groups, business owners. And then before you know it, you could be targeted where you live at in your area by select neighbors, by select business owners. Every time you go to a gas station, buy food, go to a restaurant, they may go in there and just simply tell these people, you're this, you're that, and you could be subjected to harassment due to slander.
Greetings, fellow TIs. This image that I'm sharing is very true for many people. When they're not thriving and they're just surviving, struggling, or in a crisis, it can have a severe impact on your health. It's common sense stuff, but it's something that the perps that are watching our videos, or watching my videos at least, should know that they're causing harm to people. And there are many TIs that are looking to go off the grid, and even those that are going off the grid that I've talked to have been harassed in very rural areas. Many TIs that I know that have a little bit of money will get an RV and look for free campsites or RV parks and just travel, hoping to get away from this. So you may want to look at stuff like upland farm grants. There's different grants in many different states. People have this assumption that you need to spend $30,000-$40,000 for an acre in Florida when the average farmland per acre, I think, is like $150-$200 per month. I mean per year. So you may want to look at areas and try to look at land. Maybe get involved in lobbying if you're a nonprofit. I know there's a lot of TIs tied to these TI nonprofits. You can even start your own in any state. You just give someone a position like president, vice president, assistant president, and do the articles of incorporation with your state. It may be like $75 or $150, and you can look at getting what's called a fiscal sponsorship. So there are ways that you can get support and talk to politicians and lobby, so that way you guys, so we can have rights, so we can have basic human rights. Now, I had a problem with a guy. Let me see if I can find it here. It's here on Google. Let me remove this. And the guy worked for this company called Lockheed Martin. He lived like 6 houses away from me. And this guy retired from the Air Force. The reason why I know is because his wife threw out all his stuff and nearby the trash can because she had breast cancer and he wasn't there to support her. So I ended up collecting everything that was there and selling it. Computers, I had pictures of him in the Air Force. And I find it interesting that, let me see, let me go right here. This is, it now does work for more than 24 government agencies: Department of Defense, Department of Energy, Department of Agriculture, Environmental Agency. And here's what's really interesting. I had an encounter with the group. One of the guys had a Department of Agriculture card. I had another problem. Another guy works for the post office. This is no joke. And I mentioned in the past that I was dealing with a group called Citizens Corps, and that would be harassed by postal clerks. It hasn't happened lately, but it only happened about a year ago here in another place. It wasn't less than that, in Apopka, Florida, about 6 months ago. So I find it really interesting that there's so many defense contractors within the United States, and some of these groups are massive. So there needs to be an explanation on why the government is not investigating. Why is the FBI why are they being linked to lying, false reports, along with cops here in Florida, Texas, and New Mexico, in every state? How is this possible that people are getting harassed in the same exact manner that they were harassed in a different state by Jewish people, radical feminist business owners? I mean, there has to be some type of explanation. Now, I'm not putting my targeting on Lockheed Martin because I don't believe that's the case, but I do know that I've been harassed by veterans. I do know that I've been harassed by the Central Intelligence Agency in the past. And here in Florida, I've been able to successfully locate some of these people and have files that show that the company has done work for the CIA. So I find it really interesting that can prove this pattern of harassment